Years, relations were beginning to thaw between the U.S. and Cuba. So what impact will this have? Let's put that question to Russ Dallen, president and editor-in-chief of the Latin American Herald Tribune. And thank you for joining us again. Can these two nations work past this to normalize ties?
Yes, is the short answer, Susan. It's been a problem for both countries, and the State Department has said, as Michael pointed out, that they are working with over 50 banks trying to find someone to take over the account. They even go so far to say that several are weighing taking it over. But Michael is also right that there are onerous sanctions put on because Cuba is a state sponsor of terrorism. And second, it's a laborious job because you're getting these $200 deposits, and it's not a very profitable line of business, as M&T found out, and M&T got out of all of its diplomatic relation business.
What type of economic impact is this going to have on Cuba, Russ?
Well, it's not so much. It depends on how far it goes. We anticipate that something is going to come up. I mean, actually, the actual bank account is not to be closed until March. And actually, it was actually supposed to be closed back in November when they first announced it, but M&T Bank gave them an extension because they were having trouble finding someone else to take it. But having said that, I mean, tourism is one of the lifebloods of the Cuban economy, that and the Venezuelans. So the 350,000 Cubans that go back to visit family every year need to be able to pay for their visas. And then there's another 100,000, as Mike pointed out, tourists that go down that also pay theirs. And then the Cuban immigrants that are here also have to pay $200 every 2 years to keep their Cuban passports working. So it does, in the end, result in a substantial capital inflows to Cuba. So they're going to do their darndest to try and figure out a way around it.
I see. Well, Cuba says the trade embargo is to blame for not being able to find another bank. I mean, how do you actually feel about this?
It's not exactly the trade embargo. It's the fact that they're on the state sponsor of terrorism list, as Michael pointed out. It's has nothing to do with the embargo. It's the fact that they use their money and their resources to support causes that are anathema to the United States government. And in the end, whether it be fighting in Angola or taking over Venezuela, those are things that are not good for the American taxpayer and the American citizens in general.
Is there any way to put a time frame on how long this will take to be resolved, or can it be resolved? Again,
M&T is not closing the bank account until the 1st of March, and indeed they may give them another extension. So Cuba's action was a little premature in trying to draw attention to the fact that they're making an argument that they're being discriminated against. But there are even some Venezuelan banks in the United States that could take over the job, and certainly could be forced to. But in the end, I think it's going to come down to what happens in Venezuela in terms of the riots that are going on there, and whether the subsidy from the Venezuelans of 100,000 barrels of oil a day that they give to Cuba for free can really change that. That and the fact that
Russ Dallen, thank you so much for your insight.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.